Lobsters. The name, synonymous with the great state of Maine. Lobsters were once considered the poor man's food. It was cheap, plentiful, and thus eaten by the poor, prisoners, servants, and even pigs and goats, I guess. Like goats, I myself love lobster. And in today's video, we're gonna make it our mission to find the best lobster roll in the state of Maine, or at least in this hour radius. I can't travel the whole state of Maine in one day, but you get the gist. And seeing as this is going to be a difficult task, I called upon all of you to give me some good recommendations around here, and well, here's what you guys came up with. I appreciate that. Our goal is set. Let's wait for the sun to rise and head on over to our first lobster roll joint. I'm excited. Who doesn't love big, bodacious, beautiful red bugs? You see, there's roughly 1 million lobster joints from here all the way down to southern Portland, but my goal today is to find some of the smaller and maybe less appreciated lobster shacks that are scattered throughout here down East Maine. We're at our first location today, Perry's Lobster Shack. It's located right on the coast. You can see the beautiful view from here, the wind tickling the surface of the Atlantic Ocean and some sailboats just drifting by. Not only do we hopefully get an amazing lobster roll today, but we have a nice view to go with it. And to be honest, I am absolutely starving. We skipped breakfast for this video, and I'm excited to put a lobster roll in my belly as my first meal. Can't deny, we have a good job. It's time to see how it tastes. This is our first stop, and the owner has absolutely rolled out the red carpet for us. He showed us where the lobster comes from, which by the way is right behind where we're filming, where they keep the lobster, where they cook the lobster, and where they prepare it. Now let's eat it. Perry's does their lobster rolls a little bit different. Instead of like a long roll that usually comes with lobster roll, they're doing buns, which I've never seen before, but I'm really excited to try. Of course, fresh homemade fries, a pickle, and of course a little bit of lemon for some zest. First bites, initial impressions. I'm so pumped. That is insanely good. You know, I'm biased. I love lobster as is, but you can taste the difference. I've had terrible lobster rolls before. I've had really good lobster rolls, and I've had kind of lobster rolls. This one ranks definitely like top 5 that I've ever had in my entire life, and I've had probably too many lobster rolls, honestly. It's a good thing these bugs are not bad for you because they're so delicious. I know from the surface this may seem like such a simple meal, but you guys have no idea how amazingly flavorful this is. And it really matters, I guess, to me, in the freshness of the lobster and how you prepare it. Some places you go to, they'll do hot lobster rolls, Connecticut style, where it's hot butter, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and it's warm. In this case in Maine, a lot of the lobster rolls you'll find will be cold, which is honestly my favorite. Cold with a bit of mayo and a bit of seasoning, and it's just enough. You don't want to overpower the taste and flavor of lobster itself because it's already so good. I mean, you could eat it plain and it's still delicious. I think the other key thing that Perry's does is their bugs are extremely fresh. Like I mentioned earlier, we're right by the ocean, and this restaurant is utilizing that ocean water to pump in to their tanks, which they keep the lobsters alive, and they're also pumping in water into the pots where they're boiling the lobster themselves, and they're keeping that fresh saltiness of the Atlantic Ocean in their food, which I think is so key. Something that probably a lot of joints don't have access to, being that they're more mainland. But because this place is on the coast, you get the opportunity of having the water being utilized in the cooking process, which I think is so cool, and it definitely shows. So good. I'm like scarfing this down right now. I'm just giving you guys some of my thoughts as I'm eating this. Apparently everything is mostly sourced. I don't know where the potatoes came from, but if I had to guess, probably local as well. Apparently the buns come from Maine too, just in Bangor, which is about an hour north of here. And of course, you know where the lobster came from. So good. So we've just crushed lobster, and I've got 2 very important questions. One of which, how often are you eating lobster?
I'll eat it about every day,
yeah.
But I won't eat a full one just because I see it so much. But I do. I love the taste of it.
So it never gets old?
No. By the end of the season, I'm chalking her up to pretty much she's over with. I can't really have any more.
Nice. So, remains true, lobster can never get sick of it. Next question is, short and simple, what makes a lobster roll good? Because I was talking to the audience earlier, and it's like, I've had some pretty bad ones.
Yeah.
Like some pretty bad ones where I wouldn't think it would be bad, but it sucked.
Yep.
Yours, not the case. So good. But in your opinion, what makes a good lobster roll?
Well, for one, we really care. You know, this is my business, so I've got my whole life invested in it. So that's another, you know what I mean? I take pride in what we have. Two is we do another step that most people don't. Most people buy their own already picked from a big company, which is fine, whatever. But we doctor ours up too with our own picked meat. We put it in a salad spinner and we spin the meat so it completely gets all the water out of it. So the mayo really sticks. Like, I'm sure you could tell that it was like stuck together like glue.
Yeah.
That keeps that mayo right together and it doesn't have the water that runs everything off.
So there are tricks. Because I've tried to make lobster roll and it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not good. It is water. I've made watery lobster rolls before. He's explaining everything that I should have done. But in this case, it really showed. And for folks coming down here to Maine, where can we find you?
We are at 1076 Newbury Neck Road in Surry, Maine.
With a beautiful view and some beautiful lobsters. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Awesome.
Yes.
All I can say is it's going to be tough to top a lobster roll like that. Nice people, good view, and amazing food. I'm not going to do any number scores in this video. I want you guys to decide. I want you guys to come here and try these places for yourself. My opinion doesn't matter, but if I were to give you my opinion, I'd say that it's definitely one of the best lobster rolls I've ever had. Amazing view, good people, and the food. We're not done though. I still have quite a lot of room for more bugs in my belly. So let's hop back on the road and find our next joint. Our crustacean crusade continues and has landed us here at the Happy Clam Shack. Don't let the name fool you though. This place, as you could probably guess, also has lobster rolls. Let's check her out. Wow. Look at the size of that. It was cool. That's, yeah, dinner. Well, we came to the Happy Clam Shack for lobster roll, and they delivered us a feast. They insisted that we try a little bit of everything, and listen, I'm all game for that. What we have here is practically the whole Atlantic Ocean. To my left, you've got a whole steamed lobster. This actually is a soft shell lobster. I've never heard of that before. I didn't know it was a thing. I've heard of soft shell crab, how you can eat basically the exterior shell and the meat within. This is a little bit different. Can't eat the shell, but apparently the soft shell allows that meat to absorb a little more moisture, and it's apparently a bit sweeter too. So this is a first for me. And of course, we've got Mr. Hardboy over here. That is a traditional straight up lobster with some hot butter and a nice cracker for us. Then since this is the Happy Clam Shack, we got ourselves some Jovius clams as well, which I absolutely love. Just steamed, straight up, perfect, and to the point. And of course, we got what we came for, the lobster roll. Oh, and then too, the beautiful, wonderful owner also threw in a freaking crab. So the whole cast of Little Mermaid is here, and we are about to absolutely gorge ourselves. I'm gonna start it with the soft, go with the hard, clams, then crab, and then we're gonna finish on the lobster roll. Dude, I'm gonna be so full. I'm gonna need your help, Caleb. See, unlike the spiny lobster down south, these Maine lobsters have so much more meat on them because the claws hold some really good meat. That is totally different. It is sweeter and it is a little softer, not as firm, not like that crunch that you normally get with a normal piece of lobster. I never heard of it before. Soft shell lobster, pretty interesting stuff. You learn something new every day. Who would have thought that a food that used to be fed to prisoners and used as fertilizer now costs top dollar and is pretty much the biggest driving force as far as cuisine goes in this part of the United States. It's crazy. It's one of my favorite foods. Probably top three. Top three next to fish and just regular crab. There we go. Ooh, that salty juice. Saltiness juice. The juicy saltiness. Look at that crab claw meat. Steaming. So, like Perry's, the Happy Clam also steams their lobster in salt water. I think that's the key. I'm learning a little bit as we talk to some of these owners and how they perfect their trade. It's completely different. Yeah, it's really good. It is way firmer. Like this is like soft, but not in like a soggy way. Completely different. This is harder. Both magnificent. I think it's only fitting, since they're giving me butter, I dip a little bit in there. I'm not huge on butter with lobster. I don't think it needs it, but when in Rome. That's fantastic. Simple, straightforward, to the point. Some oceanic bug always busts. Following that, we've got some clams. Let's try one of these little dudes out. Fresh, very fresh. The beautiful thing about everything that is in front of me that we're currently eating, it was freshly caught, if not alive, literally moments ago, and is in front of us for us to eat. This food has not been on a truck for 2 or 3 days or flown in or out. It's here. It's right here on the coast of Maine. Close relative to the lobster. Nice piece of crab meat. I always go for the claws first. That's my favorite. There we go. Ooh, that looks really good. Whoa. That is delicious. Like delicious, delicious. Crab, lobster, clams. That's amazing. When we started this video, I didn't anticipate eating this much food. I don't know how we're gonna get through 2 more joints after this, but my taste buds are willing and ready. Finally, the moment you've been waiting for, the Happy Clam Shack lobster roll. Leaving a little smiley face on it. The emphasis on the happy. Oh, same deal as last time. Cold style, with a bit of what appears to be mayo. This is also done a little bit more traditional with the grilled hot dog style bun. It's not quite a hot dog bun, but it's very similar. It's tried and true with lobster rolls down east. Of course, some restaurants have their own twist, such as Perry's, which was very much appreciated. But this, to me, looks like a lobster roll, and it's absolutely loaded too. That's how you know the place is gonna be good, when you have just that much meat on your roll. It's like 50% or 60% lobster, 40% bread. That is a money ratio. Here we go, second lobster roll of the day. Fantastic. Grilled bun with a bit of butter, straightforward, lobster, cold style. Amazing. Did not wake up this morning thinking I was gonna eat 1 lobster roll, let alone 2, and then potentially 4 total, because we got 2 more stops we're gonna make. Happy Clam, amazing place. This place does it all, from steamed lobsters to clams to crabs, of course to your classic lobster roll. Big fan. All I can say is the Happy Clam Shack made me one happy consumer. I've got 2 questions for you though before we leave. 2 very simple ones. One of which, how often are you eating lobster and or seafood?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
That seems to be the straightforward answer. And the second thing is, what makes lobster good? Like, what's the secret in making it good? Because there's not much to it. It's the meat and then maybe some mayo and then maybe some salt and some pepper. But like, what's your most important thing when cooking lobster?
Love, and cooking it in salt water is the key, and
Nice.
the timing. If it's overcooked, it'll be very tough. The timing is crucial, and the salt water makes it taste the best.
Saltiness and love. And I will say, you did not overcook any of these. They were absolutely fantastic. I learned something new today. Soft shell lobster is a thing, and it tasted totally different. He was unsure. He's like, does it really taste different? I was like, try it for yourself. It is really good. But if people want to find you and want to come here and experience the Happy Clam experience, where can they find you?
We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are open 11 to 7 every day. We're closed on Fridays. We're right here every day.
Nice. We'll leave their address linked down below, and you guys can come out here and have your own experience. Let's keep moving and move onwards. Thank you so much. Nope. No. Not that. Not that either. Ah, yes. Lobster rolls. I think we found the place. Our next stop, Island Takeout, hidden in plain sight behind a Sunoco gas station. We are excited to fill ourselves with some more lobster. This is my 3rd one of the day, and I'm not even done yet. I might actually explode from my seams if I eat another lobster roll, but it's gotta be done. We have to figure out where the best lobster rolls are at in Maine. I'm getting a little, I'm getting the lobster shakes. I don't know. My brain's a little foggy. All right, let's get in there. You know, it's smaller places like this that I can really appreciate. I've noticed that just about everywhere we've eaten at today has been like some sort of family-owned business, and all the people that run these joints are so proud. It's the same answer every time we ask them, what's the key to making good lobster? And the answer's the same. Love, passion, and of course dedication, and really caring about their craft. Just within the first couple of minutes of being within the Island Takeout and talking to Johnny, who I believe runs this establishment, you can tell that they're taking this very seriously. It's like all open kitchen right there. They're preparing the food. They're getting everything ready. It's very nice. I love that everywhere we stopped at today seems to be genuine about their food and their customers as well. But that kind of brings me to the next point. I remember the first time I had lobster. I don't know where I'm going with this segue, but I figured I'd share a little story. I remember the first time I had lobster. It was a cold, bitter evening in Illinois. Sun sets at like 4 p.m. in February. So we were there in February, and I was at a place called Shaw's Crab Shack. It's a good place, but nowhere near as dedicated as some of these joints. I remember taking my first bite of lobster and knowing that I truly fell in love. Little did I know, 6 years later, we'd be hopping around from spot to spot, eating these beautiful bugs. And I think the coolest part is just meeting the folks that run these places and having them open our doors for us so that we can not only film, but, you know, experience their love, that being their food. I'm excited for this lobster roll. But first, a beer. I present to you our third lobster roll. This lobster roll, a little bit different. First two we've had have been cold. Lobster roll hot with butter is actually called Connecticut style, and while I prefer it cold, I actually really do love it hot as well, so I'm excited to try something a little bit different. This one is absolutely doubled down with tons of meat. Like I said, that is a first good telltale impression when you can see claw meat in there, multiple bits of claw meat, and it's just fully locked down with that bug. The bug is the drug. Look at that. Toasted bun too, and cannot forget homemade French fries. That's also such a nice addition and plus to your roll. Fries are amazing. Let's take our first and one bite. Going in. Oh. Excuse the slow chewing. I'm really savoring this. Wow. Such a refreshing touch to do it hot now. It's really delicious. The bun is amazing. This might be like one of my favorite buns we've had. Super toasty. It really adds to the butteriness, the warmth and the butteriness of the lobster. Everything just kind of ties together. I'm not a big lettuce guy. I don't really like greens, but it's kind of refreshing. It's nice. It's not over the top though. Like some lobster rolls just flooded with leafy greens, which I just can't stand. But I didn't even bother to pick off the lettuce on this one. It's actually really good. The bun itself is the same. Not to mention, of course, the lobster is 10 out of 10. Island Takeout has won my heart. Every place we've gone to has won my heart, but I'm just gonna have to add this one to the list. Well, we just crushed our first warm lobster meal of the day. So good, dude. Thank you so much. Before we leave, I got one question. In your opinion, what is the secret to a good lobster roll?
Picking fresh lobster.
Fresh lobster. Anything else? Like you paying attention to the bun? Because the bun is really good.
The bun also plays a big part in it as well, for sure.
Toasted.
But toasted, make sure it's toasted, crunchy toast, not over toast, but
Yeah.
toasted perfectly. But like I said, fresh picked lobster meat, you could never go wrong.
It's not hard to do that when we're surrounded by water. Is this technically an island, by the way?
This is technically, you're on MDI Island, yep.
Very fitting for the name. Thank you so much for having us, man. I really appreciate it. We will be back.
Awesome.
Of course.
Thank you.
Lastly, too, if people want to find out and experience your lobster rolls, how do we find you?
Island Takeout on Instagram, or just Google Island Takeout, and you'll find everything you need to find out about us.
Nice. Right off the main drag, and it's good. I'll be back for sure. Thank you, dude. Have a good one.
Thank you. Stay safe.
If I grow red claws and start to crave stinky dead fish, then I think I might be turning into a lobster. It's kind of like when the spider bit Peter Parker. He could sling webs out of his wrist, but I've eaten so much lobster today that I might start crawling on the ocean floor and, I don't know, crave money. Or that's Mr. Krabs, isn't it? Technically a lobster, right? Same family? I don't know. We are at our final destination. I am so full, but I'm so ready to scarf down our last lobster roll. This is it. The Eagle's Nest, located directly on the Penobscot River. Although we aren't on the coast anymore, this river actually connects to the ocean by means of it connecting to the ocean. It's a river that dumps right into the Penobscot Bay, which then empties out in the Atlantic Ocean. So technically, while we won't be finding any lobsters nearby in this beautiful river, we can at least know that this water is touching some of the lobster that we potentially ate today. Let's go check it out. Seafood with a view is probably my favorite thing ever, and while we started this trip with a nice scenic display of the Atlantic Ocean, we're now hovering over the Penobscot River, which is one of my favorite rivers actually to fish. No lobster in this river, but there's crawfish, distant relative. I've actually been coming to this place for quite some time since I came up to Maine, but I've never actually come in here to film. This place has been here for quite some time, and it's one of my favorite spots that's kind of near Camp Claw, where we live up in Maine, and it's solid. A lot of good memories here. Been coming here for years, and I'm so glad to finally get a chance to add this to our mission to find the best lobster rolls in Maine. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, Kale brought up a pretty good point. He's said today, is like, if we did this with any other type of food, it'd get pretty tiresome. Like, if we did like a cheeseburger taste test where we go to like 4 different cheeseburger places, I would be sick of it. I'd be like, I don't want any more cheeseburger. But every time they lay this pile of bread, french fries, and lobster in front of my face, boom, it ignites my appetite again. Coleslaw, hot butter, homemade fries, and then of course the main event, the reason why we're here. I don't even think I can hoist this lobster roll up. This might be the biggest one we've had all day. Look at that. Oh.
Lost a bunch.
I know, I lost a bunch. So good. Cold style, my favorite. It's really good. Everyone we've had has just been really, really good. Another hit. Another certified lobster classic. The beautiful thing about this cuisine is it's so good. I could eat lobster for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. It's very lean. It's like very few calories, good amount of protein, and while the bread definitely weighs you down a little bit, it's so good. It's like one of those meals I could have literally every day and never, ever be sick of it. Clearly. First off, amazing lobster roll. I was telling the audience, I've actually been coming here since I quote-unquote moved up to Maine. We're from Texas.
Okay.
But I got a cabin, I won't say where the cabin's at, but I got a cabin north of here. And this is one of the first places I came, and it kind of introduced me to Maine lobster rolls. But every place we stop, I've been asking this one question, and that question is, what makes, in your opinion, a lobster roll special?
I think for us, our lobster rolls, why they're so popular is the consistency. It's whole pieces, it's huge. We do them to order, so we can accommodate if you want them the traditional Maine way, cold with mayonnaise, and we can do light butter on the side, or we can make it to order with no mayonnaise and hot with butter.
Also notice there was like, I think maybe 5 or 6 pieces of claw in there. So that's technically like 2.5 lobster in one roll, which is nuts.
You're right on the number.
Yep.
2.5 lobsters, equivalent of picking 2.5 lobsters, and we use all knuckle and claw meat.
So good. It was fantastic. And where can people find you?
We're right here in Brewer, right on North Main Street, basically out on Route 9, heading to Canada.
Very nice. Get some lobster before you head to Canada. Thank you so much, Katie. I really appreciate it. Wow, water's so much lower. All right, Striper, show me what you got. Oh, there we go, come on. There we go. There's a striped bass. Ooh, ooh. The same river we were just eating alongside, we're now fishing. And we're hooked up to our first evening fish. Doesn't feel huge, but it is a bass. It is a bass. That's awesome. Oh, that feels good. Just a wee little dude. Whew. That feels so good. He's fired up. We did it. Let's freaking go. Even with a full belly of lobster, I'm always keen to do some striped bass fishing. We started this video on the coast. Now we've moved pretty much to an entirely freshwater fishery where these fish travel all the way until they meet the dam and can travel no further. Beautiful fish. Quick look, and then we're gonna send them back. What an epic day this has been. Lobsters and stripers. Back into the current, the striper goes. What a fun fight. They're such good sport. It's crazy to think a fish is able to fight its way all the way from the ocean up all of this raging current to stop at this dam and then eat my spook. Where we were eating the eagle's nest is just about 10 minutes from this very spot, and it's so cool to feast and fish all at once. That was dope. Let's get another. Oh my God, that's a good one. That looks decent. Oh, that's a decent one, dude. That was a decent blow up. Holy hell. That actually might be a good one. Woo. This one's a little bit bigger. This one's a little bit bigger. This one's a little bit bigger. The goal is to get a 30-incher before we lay our heads to rest. And believe me, I'm feeling it, dude. All that food, all that roll, those buttery rolls with the lobster, man, I'm feeling it, dude. But while I'm full for lobster, I'm definitely not full for some striped bass. That was a really good eat. Holy hell. Quality striped bass, barely hooked. Barely hooked. Come over here, bud. I don't think it's quite the 30 we're after, but oh, he's barely hooked. He is barely hooked. That's actually probably gonna go close to 30. That is a nice striper. Gotcha. That is a beautiful fish. That's actually 30 all day. Usually when I come down here, I catch, you know, some high 20s, low 30s, but this is a very quality fish. You guys understand how far these fish have to travel to get up here. Hundreds and hundreds of miles. This fish could have been down in the Chesapeake Bay, basically 1,000 miles away, eating crabs, and now is up here eating spooks. They're easily one of my favorite fish to catch ever. If someone said I'm only allowed to catch one fish before I die, I'd probably choose striped bass. They're incredible fish species. This one's very fat and healthy. 30-incher all day, baby. So much fun. They eat topwater, they're powerful, and they make the drag scream. Later, stripey boy. Soak the camera. Well, today is the farthest thing from an unsuccessful fishing and food mission. If you guys want to see more content where we incorporate the great outdoors and fishing and traveling with one of my other favorite hobbies, that being eating and cuisine, drop a comment down below. Maybe we'll do tacos in Texas, or brats in Wisconsin, or chili in Ohio. We'll make it happen. Drop a comment. Let us know if we should come to your city and catch the fish and try your food and make another one of these awesome videos. We're peacing out, signing off. Thank you for watching. And as always, folks, keep eating, never stop.